Raider Nation, what is the deal, man? Once again, it's your guy Panama Fargo, and I'm back to y'all live for another live episode of the Raider Rundown. Today, we got a very special guest in the building, and we're going to be going over the key defensive matchups for the Las Vegas Raiders going against the New York Jets. So without further ado, man, we just going to get this intro started, and let's get right into it.
Young guy, I had a dream that someday I would build the finest organization in professional sports.
What is the deal, Raider Nation? Like I said, you're watching another episode of the Raider Rundown. Make sure you're tapping on the like and on the subscribe button, and please hit on the little notification bell so you get updated whenever I drop episodes and go live like this right here. So coming to the stage today, man, to greet us with his presence, man, you might have seen him on his YouTube, Tape Don't Lie, is the great Matt Holder, man. What's going on with you today, man?
I appreciate it, man. Thanks. I don't think I've ever been called the great Matt Holder before, so that's a first. I appreciate the compliment here. Buttering me up a little bit to start off. I like it.
Of course, man. We got to pump it up, man. This is a very special episode. We getting real in depth. Real in-depth type of into the defense today, man. I really wanted to ask you a couple questions and really go into what the Raiders' key matchups are on defense on the New York Jets side. You know what I mean? Like, what do we have to look for? What should we be watching? What are you watching? You know what I mean? So, without further ado, let's start off there. Like, what are you watching, number one, when you see the Raiders suited up for Sunday night?
Gotcha. Just to clarify, are you talking about the Raiders defense or the Jets defense?
Raiders defense. Sorry about that.
Raiders defense. No, you're good. I think, for the Raiders defense this year or this week, like they should have another good week, kind of like similar to what they had last week. Jets are a step up. It's not Tommy DeVito out there who's on the practice squad 2 weeks ago throwing the ball around, but it's also not a good offense overall. Zach Wilson's not good at all. There's a reason why they went after Aaron Rodgers so hard, and we're seeing that. Their offensive line, other than Elijah Vera Tucker, like they've been playing pretty bad. And Vera Tucker, I think right now is injured. I don't think he's playing right at this moment. So I don't know what his status is for Sunday or anything like that. But outside of him, like they're pretty beat up front, and they don't have a whole lot of guys. It's really just kind of if you can contain Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, and obviously the offensive line has a big impact on Hall. So I think it's definitely going to be a game where the Raiders can show out, and their defense can play like they have been in the last or really all season for the most part, that they can take advantage and at least keep the game within reach. I don't see either team really pulling away from each other in this game. So yeah, it's pretty much those two guys, man. Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. You stop the running game, you got a pretty good chance to beat the Jets.
Yeah, and you got to keep it simple. It's basic. They're playing simple football right now because when your quarterback play is bad, you got to try to keep it as simple as possible, right? We pretty much saw that as Raider fans first couple weeks we was watching our own team, so we pretty much know that. But what I really want to get on and what I want to touch on, right, because I think the interior for me is going to be crucial this game. The interior D lineman, right? I think we're going to need them to really have a great game. So, is there somebody from last week that you saw really flashed on tape, and this week you're expecting probably the same, if not better, production?
I think the first guy would probably be John Jenkins. He was a guy that I think the last few weeks he was really played well. I think he's stepped up. He's actually impressed me a little bit as a pass rusher too. Going into the season, I wasn't expecting to get really anything from him, and he's actually gotten some pressure and been a little bit or done that or kind of exceeded expectations, I guess, in that role a little bit. Not that he's putting up huge numbers or anything like that, but he is doing a solid job. And again, he's their best run defending defensive tackle that they have on the team. So like I was just saying about the key to the Jets right now is stopping the run game. He's going to have to step up and have a good game, and I think he can. The other guy that I'm kind of hoping to see get more playing time this week, because I thought he earned it last week, it would be Nesta Jade Silvera.
Interesting.
I thought for him, or like I was talking about with the defensive tackles, like not a whole lot of great run defenders right now. If I'm an opposing offensive coordinator, anytime I see Jerry Tillery on the field, I'm running at him.
I'm running straight at his ass at that point.
Exactly. Double teams and everything. And Bilal Nichols isn't too far behind him in that regard too. So I think if Nesta can, do what he did last week, which was show up pretty well against double teams. He was creating quite a few stalemates. If anyone caught those clips I was posting on Twitter, the article I wrote this week, he really impressed me in that area of his game, because that was something I thought he needed to work on coming out of Arizona State and even in the preseason too. And I mean, the guy that I watched last Sunday was not something I had seen before, so I was really excited to see him take that step up and hopefully can earn some more playing time and be a part of that defensive tackle rotation, because that's definitely one of the weak spots on this defense. Was heading into the year and kind of still is at this point and at the halfway mark.
Definitely, and I that's one troubling position for me. We're going to go over another one in just a minute, but yeah, definitely for the D tackles, I was always flabbergasted at the point that Nestor J. Silvera was never like on the field, right? Especially when our old coach was here. I'm like, okay, well, we're giving up this much yardage on the ground. Like, you might as well see what the young kid can do and throw him in there at that point. But regardless of the fact, last week we saw some things, but definitely it's kind of weak for me right now. But they played okay up to this point. But the run defense so far is bad. And let me know, I'm going to get your take on this. I think a little bit of it, too, is the fact that our linebacking core has been thin for a while, right? I don't think our linebackers are all that spectacular, right? So I want to get you touch on your take on that. What do you think about the linebackers? What did you think about last week, right? We saw Jalen Smith get some action. But Divine Diablo seems to be coming back. So what do you think about, the linebacking core up to this point and, coming into this week?
I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head with them being just decimated by injuries. Like you're talking about, Jalen Smith got signed on Wednesday, was playing on Sunday.
Immediately played.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it wasn't like a few plays. He got like 25 snaps. Him and Bernie were pretty much splitting reps. So that kind of goes to speak, because not to hate on Jalen or anything, but let's be honest, hasn't been that great of a player the last few years, and was on I believe the Saints practice squad practice squad, and was into the mix right away, which kind of shows you the state of that position. Spillane's a guy that's he's been frustrating for me. He's been up and down where, he'll have plays where I like what I see, and then he'll miss a tackle in the open field or something like that. And he does have kind of some of those mental mistakes, mainly in coverage more than against the run, but I think he can be a little more aggressive against the run. But right now he's their best linebacker, right? That's healthy right now. I mean, getting Divine Diablo back should help, especially against the run, because Amari Burney is. That's
not my favorite draft pick. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
that is really
he was a guy that even at Florida, I'm like sitting there like, man, this guy needs a lot of work against the run. And preseason was the same thing. Last week it was the same thing, and I'm just.
I mean, we're throwing him out there because it's thin, but at this point, it's like, Jesus, like we got to get somebody else in here. I mean, Masterson was doing good to me before he got hurt as well. So, I mean, that's a guy that I'm anticipating. Hopefully, he comes back too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, those two guys. I think if they can I'd almost rather see them get Masterson back, just because Diablo's another guy that's been a little bit more frustrating. And I think Masterson in the limited Masterson at least will play with his hair on fire. The limited snaps he's got, he's stood out. His biggest issue is he plays so much with his hair on fire. He's out of control a lot of times when he's going to tackle and leaving misses. But yeah, he's one of those guys where like at least you don't have to tell him to turn it down or turn it up.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'd rather take that than somebody you got to try to pump up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Something like that. And that's always kind of been my problem with Diablo too. And the fact that he's not really reliable and staying on the field. That's the whole thing too. Like, we continuously go through these stints where he gets hurt a couple weeks, he's playing good before he gets hurt, then he comes back and he's just like not the same. So like that's something I'm trying to avoid there. But the thing, all right, we're talking about Garrett Wilson. You brought up Garrett Wilson. That's a guy that, me personally, I'm like, all right, our D-line has to play good, but in the time that the D-line ain't going to get all the way there to Zach Wilson, we're going to have some coverage back there. So do you think he's going to be a real problem this week?
I mean, yes. The big factor in that equation, though, is Zach Wilson, which is you never know what you're going to get from that guy. And most of the time it's bad. But, I mean, as far as, being able to cover him, like, it's going to be tough. Zach Wilson's going to be a tough one for them to handle. I don't know. I don't really trust Marcus Peters to lock him down. And as great of a game as Meek had, I'd prefer him not to have the one mental mistake that seems to be setting him off at the beginning of every game. And last week they got a little lucky that it didn't cost him the one go route to Jalen Hyatt that he got beat on, and luckily Marcus Epps made a nice play and Daniel Jones threw it to the side, too far to the sideline.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some risk involved. But again, I think they can get bailed out a little bit by the other team not having a good quarterback. But yeah, Garrett Wilson can definitely wreck the game, and is one guy that you got to keep accounted for and make sure he stays in check.
Man, and yeah, definitely. It scares me, definitely because our secondary has the tendency to have the one lapse for sure. Like you just said, a game. Like there's always that one lapse a game where somebody's freaking a little wide open somewhere, and you're like, all right, bro, like somebody's supposed to be here. You would think. So I mean that's what really scares me. And I mean, we never, like you said, you don't know what you're gonna get from Zach Wilson. You might get the game that he played against the Chiefs, which was okay, but still to his standard, a good game. You know what I mean? But you just never know. So that's something I don't really want to play with. A question from the chat though: do you think now that the culture is changing, that big free agents like a top linebacker will come to the team now?
I mean, I'd like to think so. It definitely seems like in the 1 week sample that we have, I mean, obviously the guys are fired up and ready to play for Antonio Pierce. As far as if that's going to make more guys come, I think we got to wait and see a little bit. I think winning helps with anything. If they can finish the year strong and keep this energy and momentum that they have with Antonio Pierce, then definitely it can be a attractive destination for a linebacker, mainly because the head coach used to be one. And if he ends up keeping the job,
there you go.
So I feel like a lot of guys that might want to play for Pierce, especially if they see, the Raiders continue to play with the energy that they have, and Pierce is a guy that has a good reputation, I think, around the league as a leader and as a person. And if he continues to show that and get the spotlight, then definitely can help. But as far as right now, I couldn't give you an answer that's not a hot take with just one game of sample size.
I mean, if Antonio does remain the head coach, then I mean, at one point you can say to other free agents, I mean, look how he makes Spillane look. I mean, at this point, he was Spillane's coach. Spillane has done better than I thought he would be at this point. And I have to admit that. So, I thought it was going to be worse. So at this point, you could, but that touches into the next subject that I wanted to get your take on, right? It's been a lot of chatter. Of course, a lot of people already bought into the Antonio Pierce thing. I mean, to a degree, I'm already there too. But I mean, I'm still trying to think logical, and I'm like, okay, just like all of us, most of us are saying, last week was more emotional. Now this week, how they going to adjust, how they going to do certain things. What do you think the win total needs to be for him to remain the coach? I say if he wins 6 out of these 9, 7 out of the 9, I say he's cool. I think he can stay. But what's your take?
Yeah, I think 6 is a fair number. I think, where they're at or where the team, how much talent they do have. That was one of the things that was frustrating with McDaniels is, hey, we look across this team, we see the best wide receiver in the game, the best running back in the game, your handpicked quarterback that you wanted so bad, an offensive line that was decent last year, arguably the best pass rusher in the game, and, the defense playing lights out and they're not winning games. That was part of the frustration. So I think, he's definitely got the talent and that he can win a lot of these games. I think 6 would be a good number. What would that put him at for the final record right now? Because they're at 6 would have been
4 5 right now, right?
Yeah. Are you saying 6 of the next 9 or 6 of his 9 games that he's coaches? Yeah, I think if they can get above 5, I think if they can get in that 8 to 9 win range and be 500 and salvage that season, I feel like you got a good case for Antonio Pierce to stick around, especially with with how it started and how low they were. If they can at least stay around 500, then I think that speaks well for him.
Because you're talking about 9 and 8, and realistically, right? You sit there like, well, shit, it's a better record than last year, like because we were 6 and 11 last year. So I mean, it's a 3-game swing. So to me, 9 games would be all right. Well, let's see what you can do with a full 17. Let's see what he can do. You win 10 games, then at that point, I mean, I think But Champ Kelly, I want to get. Finish your take.
I was just gonna say, and I mean, to get to 9 or 8 wins based on where the outlook of the team 2 weeks ago when we were sitting here figuring out, oh, well, they might be able to get the first overall pick or something like that, that to get a quarterback, and to be able to turn that around and be like, hey, no, they ended up around at 500. Like, that's quite the turnaround and quite the resume pattern for Pierce.
Because I was already looking at prospects. I was like, well, let's get ready. Let's do it now. But Champ Kelly, though, that's something that really intrigues me, because when he first got hired as DGM, I was sitting there, I was like, well, it's kind of BS because he can't really do anything. But then he signs people, he releases other people, and I'm like, well, these are pretty good moves. These are all right. But what do you think about him staying on as the full time? I mean, what would he have to do to be able to stay full time?
To be honest with you, I don't know a great way to judge it. I mean, obviously, if they have more injuries and he can bring in guys that end up contributing and being positive players, obviously that looks great on him. But kind of like you said, it's a tough spot to be in, to take over as the interim GM hours after the deadline.
Yeah.
Or a day after the trade deadline when you can't do anything anymore. So, it's a tough eval. I mean, like you said, I think obviously making some moves and, bringing some guys in mid-season and seeing how they can do will help him. But that's just such a tough eval from where I'm sitting to really make a call on. I kind of hope he gets the job. I think he's got an impressive resume coming into it. I like the fact that he's worked on the scouting side and the player personnel side, so he knows how to handle free agency and knows how to handle the draft, or at least on paper he does. So I wouldn't mind seeing him get a chance, but yeah, it's tough because I feel like he's put in a position where you can't really do much and you can't really do anything to really or can't make any big moves or really so that he can hang his hat on moving forward.
Exactly. So I think it's just staying in Mark's ear, or because when you really think about it, or maybe he has like some immaculate draft class plan, whatever. You know what I mean? But that's the only way he can do it. But I do think, he deserves a full shot. We might as well give him a full shot at this point, and it can't be much worse than what we want and what we had. But I want to get your take on this, all right? Because I got a little network going with some of my guys, and we talk about this at great length, and I'm always defending this kid. Now, Tyree Wilson, all right? Now, I know everybody wants to rip the kid head off and do all that. But me, I am along the lines of saying that he's getting better. All right, I think he's getting better week by week, and I think he's kind of doing that Chandler Jones thing that last year. He's good against the run, but he ain't getting there in the pass right now. I think that's where he's at. Let me get your take on it, because you break it down, you really get into it. Like, what's your take on Tyree Wilson up to this point in the season?
I think right now with Tyree, like especially this last game, I thought was probably one of the best examples where he'll have the highs of the highs where he'll make a nice play, he'll get some pressure and get a sack, and then he'll get blocked by a tight end and sealed for the tight corner. And that's the play. That's the part where I'm like sitting there, like that just can't happen. Like, there's a few plays that I was watching. I'm like, you're way too big and strong to be getting blocked by guys that are half your or 20. You have 20 pounds on and aren't blockers. So that's kind of the frustrating part. But I do agree with you. I think he's getting better. I think his get off's getting a little bit faster. He's getting in better shape, I keep stressing this and keep talking about this. He was not set up for a great situation, having missed all that time and not, basically entering training camp. Really, they didn't even take the training wheels off of him until like that last week of training camp when he finally got into the game against the Cowboys. So, I'm not really willing to give up on a guy, but I can definitely understand where the fan base's frustration of a top 10 pick who's right now is nothing more than a rotational player and hot and cold. You like to see those guys be able to come in and contribute right away, and obviously he hasn't.
Yeah, and that's it. Really, it just sucks because he got drafted number 7 overall. So obviously it comes with the expectation, and then we all know who the Raiders passed up on. So there ain't no need to drive that into the dirt. We all know as Raider fans. So he's always going to be tied to that decision. But like you said, and I've stressed this on my channel too, and people don't want to hear it, but I say it all the time. Number one, he wasn't even supposed to be in this type of position anyway to start off, because you think you have Chandler Jones still. So, that's the whole thing. You think you can ease him in slow. Turns out you don't have Chandler Jones. Now he got to start doing a whole bunch of things that he kind of was not ready to do at this point. So, I mean, obviously that was a Ziegler-McDaniels pick, but we kind of need them to pan out, though. We still need them to do something.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we can't have him off the team like all the other ones we've had. So, do you think it's that bad, or do you think like this is a guy like in maybe year 2, year 3, we like, oh yeah, okay, thank God for this pick. Like you know, is it one of those?
Yeah, I think in a year or two we can definitely look back on it and hopefully be more promising. I don't think he's going to fall into the Alex Leatherwood, Damon Arnett category where a year later we're looking at getting rid of him. I think he's probably closer to more like a Cleveland Farrell ascension, which I know isn't a great comp that people want to hear. But as far as Cleveland Farrell ended up being a solid player for the Raiders that stuck around for his entire rookie contract, which again, a lot of their first round picks in the past few years we can't really say about much about. So I think he can be better than Cleveland Farrell. I think he's got more traits, and I think his ceiling is higher than that. But just kind of where I'm at with him, where if he can keep getting better and he can at least stick around for a while, that ascending and not be the Alex Leatherwood who is a first round pick and then gone a year later.
Yeah, see, and look, hey Tony, I love the optimism, man. I mean, 5 sack total. I'm not gonna be mad at it. I said like, okay, and this is what I said. If he ends the season with 5 or 6 sacks, maybe 7, are you mad at that? I'm not mad at that at all.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a good season. That's a good rookie season, especially how he started. We all was like, ugh, like that get off was nasty. We couldn't stand it. But 6 to 7, you like, well, shit. And Max already has how many right now? I don't know how many sacks Max
9. I think he's at 9.
Oh, see, and that's going to grow. So maybe Max get about, 15, something like that, somewhere around there. Sure. Let's hope. Right? And then he gets 7. I'm straight. That's cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you would have told me Tyree Wilson was going to have 7 sacks even before the season, I would have said that's a good year. That's a good number for a rookie.
It's cool. And then that only grows from there, and he gets more healthy. And then with an off season to fully train instead of, rehab and shit, maybe we see a better one next year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody wants to kill the kid, and I understand we've had bad drafts in the past, but I don't think this is going to be one of those where we look back and we're like, oh my God, like we could have had X, Y, and Z and whatever. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm on board with you. I don't think not time to jump off the ship just now. I know, but I get where people are coming from. As Raider fans, we're scarred. We're scarred from bad drafts of the past. It's not coming from a place of or not coming from out of nowhere. Just it's coming from historical. Right?
Yeah, and it's understandable, right? And then I want to get into another draft pick if you still got some time, man. I do want to get into another draft pick, which is Jacorian Bennett. And we talk about him a lot on this channel here. And like I said, you break it down, you get into it. Now, I mean, just watching it, and you are like, it's like so up and down, bro. And it looks like he relies on his speed, like for everything. Like you let me know, is that kind of on point? Like, what are we seeing with him? What's going on with him?
Yeah, that's pretty on point. Like when he has to think, when he's playing a lot of zone coverage, like you can tell like the wheels are turning and everything's moving a little bit slower, and he's late to where he needs to be. And I feel like, lately it's been a lot more down. I don't know if that's I'm speculating here, but I'm assuming that's probably because didn't have quite as much success, ended up getting benched after being a starter, probably doesn't have quite the same confidence. Like he got beat deep by Jalen Hyatt last week, and I'm like, I didn't think that guy was going to get beat deep ever. He got beat deep.
If that was a better pass, bro, that's 6. That's
So it's been frustrating because I was really excited about Jacorian Bennett. I was really happy for him when he's got the week 1 start, and it's kind of just been all downhill from there. And it's not just one thing; it's a few different things, which is frustrating. So, part of me hopes that he can. Get some more playing time and maybe get some confidence, or just kind of, write it out for the rest of the season and then work on it in the off season. But from what I saw from his Maryland tape and what I saw him in the preseason, like that's not the same player that's playing as confidently as he was.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
That's true. And as of right now, I mean, we're looking for that corner, right? And at this point in the season, even rookie corners, at this point in the season, you start to see something where you're like, all right, like, He has the traits of being a number 1 corner or somebody that can be somebody who's just a mainstay right here. But he's just so up and down. It's like we're not getting steady production from there, which leads into Amit, right? And even with Amit, he's up and down as well. Like, I would love to put him in there all the time, but he don't play like he did last week. He don't play like that all the time.
No.
You know what I mean? We get the lapses. So what about him on film, gives you any type of confidence going into this week against Garrett Wilson? Because I think he's going to be in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Amik, like you said, like it's just up and down. Like I was talking about earlier, it's funny. Like we were talking about on Tape Don't Lie. Like for whatever reason, Amik needs to have like some sort of adversity in the beginning of the game. Like if you remember last year, one of his big games against the Broncos, he gives up a pass to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy gives him the too short, and he just goes off for the rest of the game. Return to fumble for a touchdown. Had a pick, I think, in that game too. Like was shutting Jeudy down. So I don't know what it is. I hope he can just channel that without having the bad play. Someone I guess got to punch him in the face or something to start the game. But I don't. I mean, he played like you would expect from a backup corner, right? From a reserve guy that's going to come off the bench, where he's going to have these plays where you're like, wow, that was a hell of a play, and that guy can end up being something. And then he'll have plays where you're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And that's what we saw last week, even too. Like I was talking about on that one rep against Jalen Hyatt, where I still trying to figure out what the hell he was thinking and how he ended up getting burned and getting lucky, but. Then he turns around and has a nice pick the next time he's covering.
Yeah. And that's the thing that kills me. It kills me with him, right? And I want him to be more consistent. But, I mean, I will say this week I do like at least the size matchup, let's say, because their best receivers are about, the same kind of size as Hobbs and, Meek Robertson. So I kind of like the size and the speed matchup a little bit this week more than I do a lot of other weeks we've been going against other people.
Yeah, I mean, Amik's not going to match up well size-wise with anybody at like 5'8", but yeah, Garrett. It's not like Garrett Wilson's, this big contested.
Yeah, he's not the biggest behemoth,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so definitely feel you on that part. But yeah.
Last thing I do want to touch on, right, and because I know you guys will probably do a breakdown, somewhat some of these days about the Jets defense as well. Break it down. So I want to touch on that because you definitely. Like I said, you're getting into it. With the Jets defense, right? What do the Raiders offense have to do to really attack this Jets defense? Because, a lot of people last week after the win, we got to smelling ourselves. And I'm like, all right, I'm happy too, but that defense that's coming in here Sunday night ain't no joke. So at this point, and we got a rookie back there still, what do you think the Raiders got to do to attack this? Like, because I don't see a lot of weaknesses.
That's the problem is I wish I had a better answer for you, but I mean, get the ball out of Aiden O'Connell's hands quickly and hope somebody can miss a tackle because like you said, they got all pros on all three levels, all pros are pro boys on all three levels. I mean, Quinn Williams, probably the second best defensive tackle in the league right now behind Dexter Lawrence, who they played last week. And the biggest difference between Quinn Williams and Dexter Lawrence is, especially without Leonard Williams, that Dexter Lawrence didn't really have anybody else, so the Raiders could, block him with 2-3 guys. Yeah. You do that against the Jets. Jonathan Franklin Myers is getting a sack. Jermaine Johnson's getting a sack. Bryce Huff's getting a sack. Or
there you go.
Even Quentin Jefferson, who's former Raider, has been playing pretty well for him. They just have talent up and down their defense. On the defensive line, I mean, Carl Lawson's a guy who probably could be a starter for most teams. He could probably start for the Raiders right now. He's not even getting playing time. He's not even getting playing time. He's like barely playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he wasn't playing. I thought he was just rotational.
Yeah, I mean, he might get like a few snaps a game, but yeah, he's pretty much riding the bench right now. And I mean, their first round pick too, it was a top 15 guy, and Will McDonald can't see the field either.
Wow, because is that talented? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they scared me. They definitely scared me.
Yeah, and even in their secondary too, their linebackers are playing well. Obviously got Sauce Gardner, who is going to be a tough matchup for anybody, including Devontae Adams. That'll be one to watch.
The length is going to bother him a little bit.
Yeah. So it's a tough one. I genuinely think it's going to be one of those 17-10, 10-3 defensive struggles where we don't get to see a whole lot of points put up on the board this week.
I can see it because this, like you said, it's all three levels, all pros, all three levels, and this is, to me, it's perfect because now we get to see what Aiden O'Connell can really do. Like this a couple weeks ago, we were dreading having to see Jimmy G in this position. You know what I mean? We was like, God damn, we about to watch Jimmy G against the Jets defense, that's going to be a long night. But now, this is perfect. We get to see if he has the steps to become the guy. You know what I mean? Especially like with Bo Hardegree in his second week too, calling plays against this type of defense. Like, great test. You feel what I'm saying? But we're going to keep on the Jets defense. But I did want to ask you something real quick, so if we could backtrack real quick. I wanted to ask you about Trayvon Merritt, because I seen somebody talking about him in the chat. And I'm not going to lie, I talked my fair shit of Trayvon Merritt before the season. I'm not even going to lie. I was on his head. I was saying, this is the guy, he's on his last strike. But now, to me, I think he's definitely played up to the standard we've all expected of him. So what do you think about him as well?
I mean, to me, Trayvon Merrick's the second best player on this defense. I think he's had a heck of a year. This past week wasn't as pretty for him, but I feel like he's stepped up in a lot of ways. I love the role that Patrick Graham's been playing him in. It's been a lot more similar to what he was doing in TCU and playing really well in, which is mixing it up between playing in the box and playing deep. And like they said, like, he's got a couple picks this year, which is more than he had in his entire career going into the season, and made some plays on the ball. And just one of those guys that's constantly around the ball. And I think that's one of the biggest things. And I've loved what I've seen. Like I said, man, he's been so impressive. I've been so happy with how he's played this year, because I was someone who was disappointed with him last year. I was really hyped when they drafted him, and then just didn't quite live up to expectations in year one with Graham. But year two in the system, and again, I think a little bit of the philosophical changes has done him so much wonders. And I've been really loving what I've seen from him from so many different angles that it's been a lot of fun to watch. And I think him and Max can be the two guys that you really build this defense around moving forward.
See, and this is why I want this regime, or let's say, that's in place, to really get the job, because I really don't want to change philosophy. I don't want to change scheme. That's the whole thing. Because now we're seeing players in year three, and even some of the rookie players, like, they're playing well in this system. They like this system. So I don't really want to change it. And that's the thing. But how much of Trayvon Merritt's play you think got unlocked with the signing of Marcus Epps? Because to me, I think that was an A+ signing. I think that was one of the signings that really helped this defense as well. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely brought it up, bring up a good point. Like, with Daron Harmon's a good free safety, but that's kind of all he could really do. Whereas Marcus Epps is kind of similar to Merritt in that he can play multiple roles. So, they can put that works off together, because they can, Trayvon Merritt can roll down on one play and Epps can stay deep, or vice versa. So I think that definitely helps him out and definitely lets him be a little more versatile and helps unlock what he can do. So for sure.
Right. So going back to the Jets defense, and just a couple of last points that we're going to touch on now I got to ask every Raider fan, doesn't matter, man. Now, we saw Aiden O'Connell last week. All right. And I kind of expected that 200, low 200 game. Didn't expect no touchdowns, probably one touchdown, but just 0 interceptions is all I need. Now, when you watched him last week, what were your thoughts on him? I think he looked in command for his first or second full start. So what did you think about that?
Yeah, I thought he looked a lot more comfortable and a lot more relaxed than his first start. He was, or at least the first half of his first start, when he had those fumbles where it kind of seemed like he came out and was a little nervous, which obviously to be expected, especially going up against that Chargers pass rush that teed off on the Raiders offensive line that week. But yeah, one of the things that I loved about what I saw from him was he was just decisive. Like, I posted an article this week, just kind of going over like his time to throw. Last week it was like 2.1 seconds. So he's getting the ball and getting it out, getting the ball, getting it out. And I think that's something we were talking about earlier is going to really help him out this week with that impressive pass rush that the Jets have.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I think, especially for a rookie quarterback, that's something that they can struggle, right? They start to overthink it, start to think too much and get a little skittish in the pocket. But with him, that was the one thing, is like he kind of worked through his reads and got the ball out of his hand. And that's what I love to see. And I think that and the measured shots I love from him. I've loved that since the preseason. He kind of he'll lull you to sleep with those short to intermediate throws, which are his bread and butter and his biggest strength. And he doesn't have the best arm. He's got to put just about everything he's got in.
Yeah, he got it there. Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. He had to put some mustard on that last one.
But yeah, he'll put it down there and like he'll catch you sleeping a little bit too. And so I'm excited to see what he can do, because like you said, this will be a big test, especially with what I was talking about too, is how can he handle pressure, because it's going to come at some point this week. They're going to get to him. They're probably going to knock him around a little bit. It's just inevitable with that D line, and how's he going to handle that? So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, and last week we played the Giants, and immediately I was like, okay, it's Wink Martindale. Wink Martindale gonna bring something to him. You know what I mean? He's a rookie. Yeah. He's gonna get blitzed. But I would argue that this week is just more aggressive. Like, you know what I mean? You going against it's a different type of rush this week. All right, they're fierce for real. So, like you said, this is the test, bro. I mean, especially me, I always think ahead. I'm like, we got so many quarterbacks coming out next year. These are the type of games I want him to play because I want to see it, at this point. Like, I'm not expecting no 300 yards, but can he be poised enough to lead drives down the field? You know what I mean? That's all I care about. Even if he gets us to the 1 yard line and Josh Jacobs has 4 touchdowns, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I just wanted him to be efficient. So, like you said, you saw a lot of good things. So that's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you right there, 100%. Like, I'm not as worried about the stats. I'm not gonna expect anything like that, put numbers on him. But like you said, I mean, that's kind of how he played last week. He got the offensive range and then just let Josh Jacobs do his thing and punch it in on the goal line. And at the end of the day, that's all you need to do. And I thought that was exactly what he executed and, kept the offense on schedule. And that was a big part of it. So keeping that up and, managing the game a little bit, I think will be do wonders for him. And then we'll worry about the explosive plays later. So that's That's one of the beautiful parts, I think, about turning to him halfway through the season. It's kind of a win-win for the Raiders. If he plays well, you got somebody in quarterback, and if he sucks and you lose, should be in a good position to draft one. So.
Yeah, we good. That's why I've been so for playing him, and not, of course, to see him fail, but just I want to see, like, you either sink or swim at this point. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it can't be much worse than what we've had. And going to what he can do, like you said, the stats really don't matter at this point. You know what I mean? We're not looking for – obviously we love for him to do the C.J. Stroud numbers and the 400 and 4 touchdowns, of course. But if he can just manage the game and not turn the ball over, that's really, especially this game. He can't turn the ball over this game. And you turn the ball over this game, you give him life, to me. I think without turnovers and keeping a clean game, I think we win the game, to me. So last but not least, I want to get your last final thoughts on the game. You know what I mean? What do you think the Raiders got to do to really come out with a victory?
I mean, I think you hit the nail right on the head, too, without turning the ball over. Like we talked about a lot, this offense is not good, but one way to make a bad offense good is to give them a short field. That's going to be the biggest thing. Defense is going to have to step up. Defense is probably going to have one of their best games of the year again to keep them in the game. I don't see either team pulling away. I think even if the Raiders get a lead, I think the Jets defense is good enough to buckle down and keep them in check. And by the same token, I think Jets offense is bad enough and the Raiders defense is playing out of their minds right now that I don't see them pulling away. So I think we're in for a close one. Don't know exactly what to expect. It's a coin flip. Even Vegas thinks it's a coin flip. I think the spread's like 1 point right now. So it'll be an interesting matchup right now. It's definitely two teams where, it's going to be a defensive struggle and bet the under is all I have to say.
Yeah, definitely. I know. I don't know. Are you part of Marcus's show when he does the betting and stuff?
No, I don't do those ones. I got stuff going on Friday night, so I can't. But I do like looking at the lines and messing around, see what we got there. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've tried to stay away from the Raiders because we've been so damn shaky. So I have no idea what it's gonna be. But now this week, like you said, definitely doing the under. So, like you said, I think it's gonna be a defensive struggle, man. So hopefully, we can come out on top. But once again, I want to thank you for coming on the channel, bro. Just talking this Raider ball with me, man. I want you to let the people know where they can find you, you know what I mean? Where they can see you and Marcus and everything else you got going on. So where can everybody find you?
Yeah, man. Appreciate you for having me on, first of all. But follow me on Twitter. Handle's right. Oh, other way. Right there. There we go. At mholder95. Post a bunch of Raiders clips, post some draft clips once we get to the season. And then like we were talking about before, check out the Tape Don't Lie YouTube channel. Do a recap, do an instant reaction, do some recaps, and then a game preview. Marcus has some stuff going on with the gambling side of things, and he does his own little subscriber for the Patreon. So go ahead and support that, and then head on over to silverandblackpride.com and get all of our articles, all of our insight over there. I got a team of really good writers that always crush it every week and give you guys some good little previews and recaps.
All right, man. And I appreciate you for coming on here, you know, sharing your time with me. I know you be a busy man, but it's definitely much appreciated, man. So once again, I thank you.
No problem, man. I'm happy. Thanks for having me, man. I'm happy I got to come back. Always a good time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to do it again for sure, man. I mean, as long as the Raiders are playing football, there's always things to talk about. So definitely, man, I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate you once again, man.
No problem, man.
All right. You have a good one, bro.
You too.
Boom. And that was the great Matt Holder, man. So definitely didn't want to take up too much of his time. And I wanted to go ahead and get that segment to y'all for the first hour of it, man, because what else is there to do, man? I mean, it's definitely cool to sit here and chop it over dudes like that, man. So I appreciate everybody in the chat. For real, man. Everybody in the chat, what's going on? I'm going to shout you out, Mr. Raider Nation. What's happening with you? Raider Solo, what's the deal? Leo, how you doing? Tony, what's up, man? I appreciate it. Just wanted to go ahead, give a shout out to everybody in the chat before I do get out of here, man. I'm not even gonna lie. I was ready to get off. I'm gonna let you know I was ready to get off. But I'm ready to talk some more Raider football. So if any of my brothers in the chat want to come on to the show, I'm gonna fuck around and drop the link, bro. But also, not gonna lie to you guys, right? I didn't want to take up too much of his time because I didn't want to be rude, right? And keep him for a whole hour. I don't know what he got going on. But I did want to go over the Raiders injury report with y'all because the Raiders injury report got some shit on it that scared the shit out of me. Not gonna lie to you. And after we just talked with Matt right there about the Jets D-line and how ferocious it is, we got some shit on that. We got some shit on that injury report, bro. That got me shaking. Bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. So, like I said, bro, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, bro. Fuck it. If y'all want to come talk some Raider football, bro, some of my people in the network, some of my people in the chat, bro, you know, go ahead, come on. We drop the link, bro. Hit the link. Come in here, bro. Let's talk some Raider football. But once again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you tap on the like, on the subscribe button, hit on the notification bell so you get updated when I'm dropping these episodes, bro. And I'm going live, and I have special guests. Why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? Come on now. So like I said, hold on. Let me go ahead and drop this thing in this motherfucker. Drop this thing in this motherfucker, man. And just like that, right? Matt leaves, the show gets ghetto as shit, huh? Matt done left, and I'm about to bring out my weekly live blunt. I was waiting. The show get ghetto and shit. I had to keep it professional for the guy, man. But I'm about to bring out the weekly blunt, son. Oh man. So, like I said, we about to fuck around. Go with the goddamn injury report for this week. Like I said, it's troubling, bro. Shit troubling. Yeah. Look at my man Leo. He already on top. Shit troubling, bro. You know? Let's look. Hold on. Gotta get into it. Gonna share my screen in a minute. Make sure you guys hitting the like, hitting the subscribe button. Man, I appreciate everybody in here, bro. Once again, let me go ahead, get this up. Boom. Share my screen with y'all. Yes, sir. Hold up. Boom. Slides. Share screen. Yes, sir. Yes, sirrito. Auto square. Now check this out, bro. Here we go. Max Crosby limited. He should be playing. Divine Diablo was a big one because he did not part on Wednesday, but he was limited today on Thursday. Nate Hobbs, he's good with his ankle, so he was limited. It seems like he's going to play. Austin Hooper with his calf was limited, but he's going to play. Jakob Johnson, once again, with that motherfucking concussion, bro, did not part. But you would argue that the Raiders ran better last week out of the solo back and doing the zone shit than they did with the fullback. So, yeah, so there he goes. He's out. Luke Masterson with his concussion is back in full participation, so that's cool. Now, here's the fucking big one. Colton Miller with the shoulder. He did not part yesterday and did not part today. Now, I'll tell you what, bro. If he don't part tomorrow, it's a done data. It's a done data. he's not playing. If he don't do his shit tomorrow, and that scares the ever living shit out of me, bro. Scares the shit out of me. Because if he don't play, that left side, they gonna try to feast on that fucking left side, bro. And that shit's not good. But under him, Thayer Mumford is back in limited fashion. So Thayer Mumford's back, but Colton Miller did not practice. So I'm hoping this is some shit where they're like being cautious and they keeping him out because they know this week gonna be a big ass week. Maybe. But not practicing 2 straight days is alarming. That shit is fucking alarming. You know what's crazy, bro? You know what's crazy? I don't even be mad that you in here. No joke, bro. This is a crazy thing. I don't even be mad this motherfucker in here. You want to know why? Because every week he helps the views go up by 1. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I need that shit. So hey, I appreciate you, motherfucker. I don't like you, and I don't like your team, and I think your team is full of pussies. But hey, at the end of the day, I appreciate the motherfucking like. It ain't nothing to you personally. I don't know you personally like that. But I don't like your team. So here we go. Madden invades. KC everywhere. FKC. Yeah. Hey, it's you know, it is what it is, bro. I may not like the team. I don't know you personally. I don't know you personally. So, like I said, boy, I just wanted to go over the injury report real quick. Not gonna lie, and just talk about what is troubling me. Colton Miller not fucking playing is gonna be something that, yeesh, you know, like yeesh. That shit right there is something that's gonna scare the ever living shit out of me if he can't play. I think we got to get that stamp down. If he don't go, then we probably are getting ready to see Illuminor on the left, and we talking about Thayer Mumford on the right, which don't give me no motherfucking confidence whatsoever. I mean, I like Thayer, but in that right tackle role, and in a role where we can see him, and he's limited. Now he's gonna be counted upon even more if Colton Miller ain't on that motherfucking left side. So that's something that's going to be real nasty, bro. Something that's going to be real nasty. Yeah. But other than that, man, definitely wanted to, yeah. Yeah, we going to see. We going to see is that. That's why I'm not even saying nothing to him. That's why I'm not even saying nothing to him. Because 1, he helping the viewership go up. And 2, we going to see your ass in 3 weeks. Whoever talk shit is who going to talk shit. But understand, we beat y'all. Oh, yeah. Bring your ass back up in here. Please, do not run. Don't run. Go ahead, come back in here, and we're going to get it popping. That's all it is. That's all I got to say. But once again, make sure you're hitting on the like, hitting on the subscribe button. Oh, it definitely is. Bookmark that. It's going to be. I'm telling you. You're going to be pissed. You're going to be pissed on just like them Dallas fans was pissed on Thanksgiving. Don't worry about it. We got something for you. We got something for you. But make sure you're hitting the like, hitting the subscribe button, tap on the little notification bell. And right tomorrow, I'm gonna be dropping another video. I can't tell you what it is yet, because I don't know what it is yet, but I'm gonna be dropping something, right? Because you always know I'm dropping at the same goddamn time. Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna be dropping something tomorrow. We'll see. Because I may have some nuggets of information that I need to get out. Also, you already know on Saturday, it's the keys to victory, man. You know it's the keys to victory on Saturday. So make sure you motherfuckers pull up, man. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell your cousin, whoever the hell is a Raider fan to you. Make sure you pull up on Saturday for Raider Rundown's Keys to Victory. Why? Because we spitting some real shit. And some shit that you might be able to see on Sunday night. So make sure you go ahead, tap into that, man. And remember, I fucks with all y'all. I appreciate all y'all. And you already know what the hell I'm going to say, man. We always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground. on the Raider Rundown.
I need a bad bitch with an accent, serving in peace, still taxing. Just got tapped for the young cash app, moonwalking like a young Mike Jackson. Yeah, shots to the head, ride clean and still fuck feds. Realest nigga and it's on my kids, so who the fuck gon' wanna test me, bitch?